Devil Hunters, my name is DJ Miles and welcome to this week's Chainsaw Man's chapter breakdown of 173 and 174 titled Aging, where we finally get the reveal of last week's Primal Devil's true identity. Is Yoshida RIP from the story? And Fumiko can finally shut the f up. But the ramifications run way deeper than Fumiko. Let's quickly recap chapter 173 first, since I wasn't here last week, where we see Pochita consume the ear devil. We see the consequences of that worldwide, with the cats and elephants losing their ears, to even public safety confirming in their own controlled environment that the concept of ears is something foreign. Soon after, we see agents ominously slicing off their fingers, making a sacrifice to a primal fear, which we now know is the aging devil, more on that later, who quite literally smashes its fist all the way from hell to strike Pochita. This attack doesn't go unpunished, however, as Pochita quickly slices off two of the devil's fingers. He is, however, interrupted by Yoshida, who summons the octopus devil to restrain him, and that constriction is enough to force Pochita to spit out the ear devil's head, restoring everyone's ears in the process, with the elephant in the beginning of the chapter having the biggest grin, which honestly just made me so delighted. That elephant is such a precious gem we need protecting, like the penguin that Denji just absolutely adored earlier in part 2. But what's the biggest thing we can deduce from all that? Well, if they were able to successfully vomit one devil out of Pochita, could they possibly have him vomit even more? Which makes me immediately just recall of what Makima said to Kishibe when we saw the introduction of Pochita's true form back in part 1, where, hey, nuclear weapons, AIDS, World War II, etc. And we know Fami, just like the other Horsemen of the Apocalypse, that her powers are a bit nuanced, but they can run really deep with the concept of starvation. So what does that mean? If we can starve Pochita, can Pochita finally be controlled? And that seems to trickle on to what happens in chapter 174, where elsewhere we see several Japanese politicians gathered in a courtyard, including the Prime Minister of Japan. He reviews the transcript and confirms and asks for confirmations about whether the ear devil's erasure actually took place. Some of the people in the courtyard confirm this, which the Minister of Defense then turns to Public Safety Devil Hunters representative Fumiko. Wow, Fumiko, it's like we've missed you so much. Not really. And Fumiko making a case of how Pochita's erasure power can be used for good. She continues into saying that these powers can aid human evolution by removing obstacles to progress, which immediately is already kind of like a dangerous topic in and of itself, right? Like the concept of being immortal, is that necessarily a good or bad thing? And then, you know, it goes into the philosophy of what makes life so beautiful, right? And I don't know why I'm thinking of Rengoku from Demon Slayer, but that man said it best. There's something really precious about life because it is fleeting, but I digress. Fumiko goes on into saying how public safety has a fantastic relationship with the aging devil, and that the aging devil has no attachment to life, and depending on the terms of the contract, it's willing to be eaten by Chainsaw Man. Wow, this sounds really good, but what's the catch? Oh man, we are going to find out how really messed up this whole situation is. But first, the chief cabinet of secretary ends up asking, if we erase the concept of aging, what will erase? Will mental and physical decline stop aging from disappearing from all living beings? And I love how Fujimoto is like asking these questions for the audiences, because there's a lot of layers and there's a lot of nuance to all of this. And this is where Fumiko actually explains with what happened with the concept of hearing, that the absence of ears hasn't led to the disappearance of ear-related devices like cell phones or radios. So hypothetically speaking, although we don't know what will happen if Chainsaw Man erases the concept of aging, none of them will really know what will happen until the deed is actually done. At this point, one of the politicians ends up asking Fumiko, what does the aging devil demand? And this is where now Fumiko reveals that the aging devil requires the execution of 10,000 Japanese citizens aged between infancy to 9 years old in front of mirrors. Okay, so that is already a wild thing. Let's just go ahead and stop right here. So unfortunately, we know what the politicians ends up choosing for the sake of Japan. It's the sacrifice of 10,000 worth an entire nation worth of people, yes or no? Now, a lot of people would say, hell no, but unfortunately, we live in a crazy world, and I feel like a lot of people, if given this kind of option, maybe some people might be tempted and swayed otherwise. And, you know, it's interesting seeing how in part 1, during the International Assassins arc, a lot of people were against Japan trying to capture the heart of Denji and Chainsaw Man and use it for their own benefit. But now we see Japan here. They are now in the seat, in my perspective, to be super villainous. And we even see how one of the politicians refuses, but because one of the aging farts that's about to go off says, well, hey, you know, we can sacrifice for your children, he eventually succumbs and agrees to this as well. And as Fumiko begins to make a call, she realizes something is wrong. Everyone's mouths have vanished. A similar scene unfolds showing both animals and people without mouths, in which we see that Pochita has not only erased the concept of mouths, but also the concept of snow, octopus, implying that the feet of Yoshida and bitterness are now gone from this world. Which, first of all, please give this elephant a break. I need the elephant to just have a good life, Fujimoto. But going on to the major ramifications of what happened here, there are no more mouths. It was easy for me to say previously in my last review how public safety was stupid for having a very important concept of the ear devil in the line of duty something stupid. But now we can see after chapter 173 and 174, this is a hypothesis to test of what can happen and what was fully intentional from the start. So, oh my God, public safety, pats on back for actually acting competent. To also put mouths in the line of duty, and I'm curious to know which one of these is the mouth devil. I guess that's not really important for now. Ears was one thing, but if there's no mouths, then how is Pochita going to continue consuming devils? Or is this still an elaborate ruse? Because now that there's no mouths to feed, that means Pochita can't eat. And if he can't eat, he is starved. And what does that mean for Fami? Well, she can shine and use her horseman power of the apocalypse to full extent. And does that mean if we need to see Pochita consume more devils or to see Pochita relinquish some of the devils, will the stomach be cut open? And again, you know, you can now kind of put two and two together of what that means with Fami and hunger with the stomach. There's no mouths to feed. There's a lot of stuff where now we can see the puppeteer, aka Fami, now do her job to full extent. Now, what does snow and the concept of bitterness lay into with this? We'll have to wait and see. Again, looking at these devils, I would have never alluded one was bitterness. Well, I mean, maybe the emo looking one is probably like the bitterness devil. But DJ Miles, is Yoshida gone? Because we do see that Pochita has eliminated the octopus devil. Now, I think it's very easy to say, yeah, Yoshida is gone. And in the world of Chainsaw Man, we know Fujimoto is no stranger to taking out someone. And if this is the end of Yoshida, then I'm okay with this. But I think Yoshida still has a bigger role to play in all of this. And similar to what happened in part 1 when Aki summoned the Fox Devil to face off against Katana Man and the Fox Devil was easily defeated. Well, the Fox Devil just said, Aki, I don't want to work with you, and the contract was relinquished, more or less. Someone quote me on that. So with the Octopus Devil truly gone because Pochita ate it, but someone has formed a contract with it, does that mean they also die alongside with the devil? I don't know, but I think Yoshida is safe and sound. He just doesn't have a devil anymore. But man, was there a lot to unpack in this chapter. How do we feel about this universe's Japan sacrificing or willingly being okay with sacrificing 10,000 lives for the betterment of an entire nation for human evolution? The concept of mouths being gone alongside with snow and bitterness. What does that mean? Will Fami finally shine? And although we now know what public safety wants to do and that the aging devil is willingly, a primal fear by the way, sacrificing itself for Chainsaw Man because, well, it doesn't really care, how does that all play into the Nostradamus prophecy? Guys, it feels so good to be back. We have a lot to discuss in the live stream, and if you want to go ahead and check that out, go ahead and click on this video right here.